Greetings, people. Ben here. And I want to talk to you today about business schools and how utterly redundant they are. Now, that's not to diss any of you who are in business schools or have studied in business schools or affiliated to business schools or whatever it might be. But a quick search online, if you are looking to kill a few minutes, and let's face it, we all spend most of our time killing a few minutes. A quick search online for the kind of most recommended books for MBA readers to read. You get a real narrow band of choice back. You know, the obvious. There's a little bit of Simon Sinek in there. If you're lucky, maybe there's a little bit of Dan Pink in there. There's always a bit of Dale Carnegie in there. A bit 100-year-old story. Clearly, again, pointing to the idea that maybe the best and most useful stuff is the oldest. Anyway, other than that, you know, there's a real kind of common thread, common theme to them. Essentially, it's the same ideas being replayed over and over and over with a similar kind of lens. Now, you know, if we think about how almost everything else in the world works, this idea that there's such a narrow band of influences, a narrow band of guides informing and dictating what we do, what's that going to lead to? It will lead to replication. It will lead to sameness. It will lead to more of the same things kind of playing out over and over and over and over and over. Now, clearly, when you're running your business, you're motivating your team, you're making your shit happen. Of course, there's an element of learning from things that have gone before, learning from people who've gone before and taking those ideas on board. But equally, there's a whole big fucking world out there. And the whole big world out there is kind of full of ideas, full of inspiration, full of these sources of wisdom that we should tap into. Now, my interest, as you kind of know, is tapping into the old ideas, tapping into the timeless ideas. Some may call them alternative ideas. Other people may call them indigenous ideas. I don't know. I'm interested in a whole range of reference points. Someone once asked me, as part of one of these business book, lists, recommend the business book which has been most useful to you. And in amongst the list of all the other things, I threw in there the Bhagavad Gita. Because it's a timeless book. It's an ancient book. It's a book that talks about human motivation. It's a book that talks about inspiration. It's a book that talks about how we function in the world. And it was relevant thousands of years ago. It's still relevant today. So really the thing that I'm kind of interested in is what can we learn from ideas beyond the periphery? What can we learn from the ideas which are beyond the everyday? And I'm really particularly struck by the idea that really, there's only a few real absolute truths in the universe. Everything else is conjecture with a little bit of spin, let's be honest. And a few of the real absolute truths in the universe, which, being truths in the universe, they're good to take on board. They're good to take on board for how we do our work. They're good to take on board for how we run our companies. These ideas, to my mind, are everything is connected. I'm connected to you. We're connected to everybody else. We're connected to nature. This idea of an interconnection is an idea which, of course, runs straight through the heart of almost all Eastern philosophy. And it is absolutely true. What we do has an impact on you and vice versa. We can't operate, despite what we think, we can't operate in isolation. We're not islands. We are connected. Everything that we do is connected, and we need to understand this relationship, the interconnection of things. Another key idea, everything is always changing. Isn't it ridiculous how really when we're running our businesses, and a lot of what is taught in business schools actually is about the illusion of control, is about keeping things going, is about trying to keep our hands wrapped around the constantly changing dynamic that is our work, that is our life. Everything is always changing. When we kind of settle into this idea, when we kind of marinate in it, kind of lie back in it, we can actually take this as an inspiration. What we think changes, what our customers think changes, what the market is changing, what's happening in the environment, that's constantly changing. We need to know and understand this idea of a constantly changing thing, a constantly changing context. It should be your friend. And really the kind of follow on from that, which is the third of these three ideas, is everything has a time to die. Everything has a time to die. Yet when we're creating companies, when we're creating products, when we're creating projects, we don't let things die. We constantly add, and we don't let things die because we're uncomfortable with it. It scares us. It unnerves us. We kind of live removed from the idea of death. We live removed from the idea of kind of ending things. Even talking about it makes me feel a little bit kind of tingly in my tummy. We've got to embrace this idea of death. We've got to embrace the idea of ending things. Because actually, when we do end things, it's an invitation for new things to rise. You know, the greatest cause of death? Yeah, it's birth. So by extension, the greatest cause of birth is death. We got to embrace it. We kill off products, kill off projects, kill off companies, kill off relationships, whatever it might be. Everything has a time to die. The longer we hold on to something which is stagnant, the longer we hold on to something which is past its sell-by date, it's weighing us down. The cost to us is extreme. And the longer we hold on, the greater the cost. So practice ending things, practice stopping things, practice killing things off as an invitation to create new. And that's what I leave you with today. If you like these, please subscribe. It's the best way of keeping in touch. Do share them, all that useful stuff. And also, I've got a new ebook coming out. It's Buddha on the Board. If you like the sound of that, if you like the sound of the things that we're starting to explore in some of these videos, go to the website. The link's in the bio, and sign up, pre-register on the site, and I'll get that book to you as soon as it's done. Until then, I look forward to speaking more. And of course, any comments, anything, just please drop them in below. Look forward to seeing, hearing, speaking to you soon. All the best.